Welcome back to Fast Money. Pot stocks are flying high. A number of cannabis-related names fueling the buzz in the past month. Aurora Cannabis, Kronos Group, Emerald Health, and others moving higher. So can investors expect more marijuana ETFs to hit the marketplace? Let's get to Bob Pisani at the Inside ETFs conference in Hollywood, Florida. He's got his shades, he's by the beach, he's a Hollywood swinger, and he's got a special pot ETF guest. Bob, take it away.
Yeah, Alternative Harvest ETF. MJX is the symbol. Sam Masucci runs it. I've known this guy a long time, and you've run a lot of different ETFs, but you've stepped in real pot here, my friend. They started December 26th. They had 5 million. Now they have almost 400 million. That's got to be one of the fastest growing ETFs in history, no?
I believe it's the second fastest grower ever. Yes.
How is there enough to invest in? Can you actually buy enough marijuana stocks to have a $500 million ETF fund?
Well, you can. This is made up of 30 stocks around the globe. Each has a minimum cap value of 200 million. They trade 500,000 shares minimum per day. And the business is growing. The companies entering it are growing. Companies like Scotts Miracle-Gro, which has vested 500 million in the space. So yeah, we see this as a tremendous investment.
But the smaller, I don't mean Scotts Miracle-Gro, but the pot stocks, don't you move them when you start moving hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're small?
They were widely held. We've pulled them together. And I think our index partner, Prime Index, is very good at making sure that we have enough breadth in the index. Look at GW Pharmaceuticals, right? The #1 medication for children's epileptic seizures. I mean, it's been widely held. This is the first time to own it within an ETF.
Now, not to throw a kink into this happy story, but Jeff Sessions, our Attorney General, has said he doesn't like this idea, and he said he's not going to look the other way. What happens if we get a bunch of federal troops storming in and shutting down your companies?
Right. Well, first of all, the majority of our companies are outside the U.S., Canada, UK, South Korea, Switzerland. So we'll continue to own companies, obviously internationally, but U.S. companies like Philip Morris, Scotts Miracle-Gro, firms like that are benefiting through hydroponics and things.
You're going to offshore. You're just going to move outside the United States if they start.
Well, we'll continue to participate in those companies that are largest. And right now, the largest piece is outside the U.S., but 28 states now have approved medicinal marijuana. 16 more have it on the docket for this year. You know, you're treating things like PTSD, cancer, epilepsy. These things are, you know, these advancements within the cannabis plant are not going away.
You think, though, the chances that Sessions going to actually, your companies are going to get shut down, small, significant, large chance? How do you rate this?
I think at best it probably impacts, it doesn't impact the medicinal side, maybe it's the recreational side, but there's so many medical advancements now happening with the cannabinoid oils and the uses of the plant. I don't see that going away.
Before I let you go, you do a lot of thematic investing. Hack, your cybersecurity ETF did really well. The gaming one, GAMR, Gamer, did really well. You were approached a number of times for Bitcoin ETFs. You turned everybody down. Why do you turn them down?
Well, we have, because one, we're not comfortable with the SEC's review of how they want to regulate it. And two, we just can't explain the volatility within Bitcoin, and until we're comfortable with it and we know how to trade it, we don't see ourselves getting involved.
I think that's exactly what the SEC has been saying. Sam Masucci, I've known you a long time. You stepped in gold on this one. Congratulations, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Bob.
Melissa, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Bob Pisani at the Inside ETFs conference. Let's trade this. You know, Bob was bringing up a good point. An ETF of that size, is there enough supply out there, and is it in of itself moving these stocks?
It's absolutely moving these stocks. There's no question it's moving these stocks. I mean, you look at the market cap in a lot of these names, it's pushing them around, and it's going to continue to until you start to see more companies go public, these Canadian companies that are going public. But look, this is a sector that you want to be invested in. I mean, the medical marijuana side, it's unbelievable the sort of breakthroughs that they've had. You look at a company like TRST.CN, they are an amazing company, and below 15 bucks, I think you just scoop it up.
I think it is interesting that you have to go outside, and all these companies are Canadian companies, but Scotts Miracle-Gro is the one that sticks out. Everyone knows that one. But I would definitely play it with an ETF. HMMJ is the other Canadian ETF, Horizons Marijuana. That's the one I would do it with. But you can't buy single stocks. I think it's a little too risky at this point.
Oh, I have one.
Is this a would you rather?
Yes.
I love this game. Play with Dan now.
Fresh money right now. Would you rather buy any cryptocurrency or a basket of pot stocks?
I'd probably much rather do the cryptocurrency. I think it's just a much bigger market at the end of the day, especially if you're focused on currencies or coins that are really thinking about blockchain disintermediating some existing business. So to me, that's right.
Or smoke a lot of pot, then buy a lot of crypto.
Could be a thing.
I
No?
hope not.
Well, I think the disruption is important to look at. Disruption of medical companies, disruption of big cap pharma. I mean, this is a big disruptor that people have to pay attention to. It's going to absolutely shake up some of these industries within, you know, subsectors of pharma.
All right, for more on the weed trade, let's bring in our very own pot master, Tim Seymour. He joins us from Hollywood with his shades.
Oh, boy.
Hey, Tim.
Really? Hi, Mel. How are you?
Good.
Is that my new moniker?
Yeah. Well, actually, you know, I'm going to pose the same question to you as I did just to Dan, because you're in Ethereum and you're in pot stocks, but fresh money right now, what's a better bet in your view?
Look, I think valuation-wise, it's a lot easier for me to get my handle on what's going on in the cannabis space, and whether it's the biopharma element, whether it's the wellness element, I think these are valuations. I'm not going to tell you that in many cases, if you look at Canopy or Aurora or Afri or even GW Pharma, which was talked about, these are not cheap companies, but I think in some cases they're companies that haven't begun even to price in what is, I think, efficacy on a lot of the pain relief, and whether it's epilepsy or whether it's industries that actually really are starting to find applications for this. That's the story here, and it's not, to me, all about recreational. In fact, I think the recreational legalization in Canada has been a catalyst, but I think the medical side of it has certainly been a big deal. You're seeing a lot of M&A last week. Aurora did a big deal. Afria did a big deal. And so if you invest in some of these ETFs, especially, you know, if you look at the IBB, look, the top 4 names in that make up 30, 40, 50%. It's the same thing you're going to see in some of these names. Those names, MedRelief, Canopy, you know, Afria, MedRelief, they are $4, $5, $6 billion companies, and right now, that's one way to get good exposure.
And when you're taking a look at these individual stocks, Tim, is it important to you that these stocks are based, or most of their business is in Canada versus the United States, given the uncertainty around what Jeff Sessions might or might not do?
I think people that are investing are obviously investing carefully. I think it's also creating a huge opportunity. Jeff Sessions has done a lot of people that are already investing in the space a huge favor, but I think making valuations a little bit more interesting. My view is, if you listen to 17 attorney generals that have in the last week written Washington and pointed out just how important this business is to their states, how independent they were told they were going to be allowed to be, and I think this is exactly what's going on. Look, Jeff Sessions may have an agenda, but it's one that I don't think is consistent with an administration that ran on states' rights. Therefore, I think this is a final cry. I think people that are investing in the cannabis space, though, can invest in Australia. They can invest in Asia. They can invest in Canada. There's plenty of places to invest, and you can then look at names like GW Pharma or those that have cannabinoid influences that I think are very, very attractive now.
All right, Tim, thank you. I hope you didn't lose your luggage this year like you did last year. Tim Seymour.
I didn't bring it. That's how I don't lose it.
Yeah, smart.
No luggage.
You know,
Quick.
I'll make a quick point. Look, New Jersey is coming into play. New Jersey. Wait until every Wall Street executive who lives in New Jersey watches the lines at these cannabis stores. When that starts to build up and they see the opportunity, Wall Street's going to eat this up even more than they have already.
Still ahead. Major drug deal on the street as Celgene agrees